Imagine being accused of a crime and having to prove your innocence by holding a red-hot iron. Welcome to medieval Europe's bizarre justice system called trial by ordeal. Back then, courts didn't have our modern forensics or fair trials. Instead, they believed divine powers would reveal the truth. If someone was suspected of theft or witchcraft, they might have to carry a burning iron or plunge their hand into boiling water. After a few days, if their wounds healed cleanly, they were innocent. If not, well, guilty as charged. One famous ordeal was in 13th century England, where a man accused of theft had to hold a hot iron for 3 steps. The church believed God would protect the innocent from harm. But imagine the pain and the risks. Sometimes people died or were severely injured just to prove a point. This wasn't just cruelty for cruelty's sake. It reflected the deep intertwining of religion and law at the time. It also exposed the struggles of delivering justice when evidence was scarce. Over time, trial by ordeal was banned because it was obviously unreliable and brutal. But it shaped how societies thought about guilt, innocence, and fairness. It's wild to think that justice once meant burning your hand and hoping for a miracle. So next time you complain about a long trial, remember those who faced fire to prove their innocence. Would you trust justice to a hot iron, or would you demand a modern courtroom instead? To fully understand trial by ordeal, it helps to look at the medieval mindset. Back then, the legal system was deeply entwined with religion. People believed that God was the ultimate judge of right and wrong. The idea was that divine intervention would protect the innocent and expose the guilty. This belief was so strong that it overshadowed any logical or evidence-based approach to justice. For example, during the ordeal of hot iron, the accused would carry or hold a piece of metal heated to white hot, usually for a prescribed number of steps. Their hand was then bandaged and left untouched for 3 days. If the wound looked clean and showed signs of healing, it was seen as proof that God had intervened to protect the innocent. If the wound was infected or festering, it was taken as a sign of guilt. This method was not just used for theft or witchcraft, but for various accusations including murder, adultery, and other serious crimes. The consequences of failure were often harsh, including death or severe injury. People lived in constant fear of this brutal method, yet it was accepted as the norm. The ordeal also highlights the absence of forensic science, police investigations, or any form of rational evidence gathering. When facts were hard to come by, people turned to faith and superstition. As societies evolved, the flaws in trial by ordeal became increasingly apparent. Innocent people suffered, while some guilty individuals escaped punishment simply because their bodies healed better. The system was arbitrary and often deadly. This led to growing criticism from both secular authorities and the church itself. By the late Middle Ages, many regions began to abandon trial by ordeal in favor of more rational legal procedures, such as trial by jury or examination of witnesses. This shift marked a significant turning point in the history of justice, ushering in a more evidence-based and humane approach. Reflecting on trial by ordeal makes us appreciate the progress made in legal systems worldwide. Today, we rely on scientific methods, legal representation, and fair trials to determine guilt or innocence. The idea of proving oneself by fire seems barbaric now, but it reminds us how far we've come. It also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of letting fear, superstition, or ideology override fairness and reason. So next time you find yourself frustrated with the justice system, remember those who literally bore the pain of a hot iron to prove their truth. Would you have the courage to face such an ordeal, or would you stand firmly for the courtroom we know today?